Okay, thank you. So shameless plug to start with. We are Karsun Solutions. We are a solutions partner for WSO2. So how would I talk about my company in as simple way as possible? I drew a lean canvas to say, hey, this is my company, and if I put everything about it, how does it look? How does a lean canvas look, right? So our core vision is to be an enterprise modernization experts. Why we do what we do is about defining assumptions, defining trade-offs, creating new value to it, and at the same time we embrace and make that value stick. That's our approach. That's what gets us to. And our focus area is start with the problem, do the business process re-engineering, and modernize IT and technology, and getting it to work in the organization to change management. So we focus on all aspects of modernization. Right now, if you want to know us about by numbers, we are 75 plus and growing. We do $12 million revenue per year. We are executing on next 5 years $175 million contracts. Right now, we are executing on that. So we are slowly becoming bigger than what we are today. So our offering is on IT strategy. We create roadmaps. Modernization is that we look at it as an organic change that we will achieve over a period of time. We have expertise on business transformations, that is to align where you are to get to where you need to be based on the strategy that we develop. We do a lot of work in cloud at different levels, from infrastructure all the way to platform service. We do a lot of software development. Most of our work is for projects that we do and deliver for federal government base. We also continue to operate and maintain things that GSA has or many of our projects have or clients have. So we have a good delivery management skills. We now manage a $110 million program for 5 years. Our real difference that we see over all this offering is that we have evolved a lessons learned out of many projects of how to apply lean and agile end-to-end with automation, quality, and controls across the board. And we perfected that to a method that we apply repetitively. We have developed, in the recent 2 years, we've been started WSO2 practice. And we do a lot of innovation. We have innovation. We are looking to have people who are now being innovate using our labs, which is generally available. So that's our customer focus at this point is federal government. We are looking to open up and go to state, and we are also trying to use large system integrators to reach out to other bigger opportunities. Our important thing that I want to make sure that we are not stock fragmentation. We are not about getting people. We are about creating value and creating outcomes. And that's why we focus on services. Even though we focus on consulting, that's what we do, give expertise and get customers across it. We believe in distributed leadership. We are very proud of organization. We're very agile in the way we work. So coming to the context of the case study. GSA probably in 2006 or so they consolidated their networking and their desktops, but they did not get to consolidate their software development or operations or the planning and execution. What that left is a lot of cost and optimization opportunity untapped. Around maybe 2012, GSA found itself a little bit on the Washington Post front page for the wrong reasons, and that triggered certain activity, organization change for bringing more accountability and visibility to budgeting and outcomes. And as a part of that effort, they started the IT consolidation across business lines to meet the main goals of cost savings, bringing visibility across multiple business processes, business lines, and their funding and their IT investments, and consolidate IT workforce to be able to come under that. This led to consolidation initiatives like let's get platforms together across wherever there's duplication of platforms to get services to be able to reuse. SOA became real across the enterprise. And the first initiative was looked at is, well, before we get all of that in place, so let's get the platform together, and that's where the middleware consolidation took its legs to be as an initiative. The goals of the specific objective of middleware consolidation was that they want to go open source. GSA has open source policy, and they are, but they do have a lot of other things already in place. Weblogic server, Websphere server. So, but the initiative going forward was to use open source as much as possible. But they don't want to lose. They don't want to give up on the industry strength code that would be that would otherwise be, say, vendor products. They want to get that same with the open source as well in terms of performance, scalability, reliability, and so on. And at the same time, they want to minimize changes as they re-platform, right? Those were the middleware objectives. This led to us trying to find a cost saving, meet the cost savings mandate for licensing, and reducing create shared enterprise platforms as the opportunity for us to go forward. This was the current state when we started. As you can see, the Federal Acquisition Service have their own SOA, and a lot of their apps using SOA to a large extent. And then there's public building business line having their own SOA through IBM Process Server, and all their applications are really evolved. Even though network was already integrated, none of the apps were because platforms were in common. So that was the big problem. So given the goals that they want to go open source, the best and most of what Federal Acquisition has done are already open source using JBoss, OAP, and so on and so forth. The opportunity to re-platform existed on the previous side where they're using IBM Process Server. So that's our that was our the idea is through that remove duplicate services, get reduce resource costs, and bring coherency around their services. If you really see, there's customers, vendors, customers, and agencies whom they serve are common to both the business lines, but there was no services that are common to them. And most of their internal users are also acquisition staff who were doing different systems, learning different systems to get things done. So there was an opportunity to bring that coherency around it. So that's, you would see. So in doing WSO, so in getting an influence of IBM Process Server, we looked at many options, and we derived what our looked at what is running on IBM Process Server now. There's a lot of proprietary capability that is from IBM Process Server that we've taken into it, and we had to look to see what would achieve, what is most aligned to it, what gives us less gaps, what is effort-wise quick to get to, and meet our their future goals in being able to scale. So we came up with the decision matrix, and quickly, basically, we looked at WSO2, BPS primarily, and Active VOS, and JBoss Flipstop. JBoss Flipstop primarily because the other side of the task was already on JBoss, OAP, and so on. So thought it would be a little more integrated, but we did find out that it didn't work out well. I will see that in a moment. So when we say 9, we mean it's well aligned technically, and probably minimum effort to get to there, right? And 3 means it's not that, it's going to be some effort, there's some technical risk that we need to deal with alternatives and so on and so forth. One is, hey, that just doesn't happen, you need to do a lot of plumbing to get things done, right? So we looked at the process features first. What do we want? We wanted capability to run all of the people services that we have. That's around 42 of them, and it's quite complex. Around 250 different activities on each one of them. It's quite complex business rules there and business processing. And we wanted ability to get human tasks done, and we wanted to get Java snippets, a lot of customization logic in between the processes. So from that perspective, WSO2 wasn't the best. ActiveOS was better. and for simple reason that human task support was much better on ActiveOS than WSO2 as of a year and a half ago. I believe we helped a lot in getting across that bridge with WSO2 today. Right? And then we looked at how the systems around it interact, and we wanted to make sure that JMS and interaction. See, our goal is to make sure no client application, consumer application needs to change when we platform, right? So we want to make sure that it supports JMS, it supports HTTP, and all these protocols that we need, and it supports the SCA capability of IBM. Not just IBM, but multiple vendors who have a protocol on how to integrate and compose multiple services into source functions, right? So from that perspective, it's even Stevens with WSO2 and ActiveOS. This is not only deep analysis, but to be able to choose what we're going to go forward with. So we found both are compatible with, obviously, JBoss, Ripsaw did not work much at all for us. The most important relevant factor that we need when we go to open source is being able to support that platform when we do that. And our criterion there was that does it have, from what I did processor, is does it have a good, powerful administration console to get things done, right? And does it have good business activity monitoring with reporting and dashboards capabilities as good as what we have in the processor? And the important thing is the open source community behind it and the support behind it strong enough for us to rely for a life of our this platform, which is probably 10 years and 10 years or so. So what platform would actually provide that kind of life and that kind of durability, right? So from that perspective, it was very clean. WSO2 was the best in terms of what we had as options. And the other thing that we looked at, what are the challenges in taking what we have on Bipal and meet some of this? So one of the things is being able to meet the without changes to existing applications. How do we get the re-platform that? From that perspective, to that extent, as human workforce weakness, we initially thought ActiveOS is better. Retaining existing performance, we thought WSO2 had a lot of data that we can rely on that was industry strength, including the EPA and other things. And we also we wanted to make sure the authentication-wise it can plug into what we wanted to look at. From all that, overall, we found WSO2 scored much better than ActiveOS for us to initiate the project. So one of the things that we did immediately after that is, okay, right, good, we're going to get started. Let's take all the technical problems, let's all get them, prove ourselves at 9s or 9s, prove and see what alternatives we need to do to get the 3s to 9s. And that basically is the feasibility study we started with. We didn't get to the project until we actually mitigated the technical risk. And I would like to let Sriraman talk about all the details of the prototypes he's done.
Hey, good afternoon, all. As Badri said, initially we took the decision based on the metrics, evaluating the scores on WSO2, ActiveOS, and JBoss Ripsaw. So this project, what we have taken is it handles $1 billion transactions per annum. So it should be very sensitive for selecting the platform. So what we did is we did a couple of architecture prototypes to decide, okay, it fulfills our requirements. Even though it was used on eBay and it was very popular, for our BPS and the human task containers, I think we were the first one who has used human task and people capabilities extensively in this project. So we did a couple of prototypes which proves our thing what we require. For example, when we migrate an application from the IBM process server to WSO2, the basic thing is it has to have the capability of re-establishing the same Bipal processes on top of the WSO2 platform. So that's what we have taken certain business processes which is already there in IBM and we migrated it and proved that this is work. So that is one of the major points over there. And then there are certain capabilities, for example, if you want to go, if we are thinking about the business process work, then it should support process versioning and ability. And because it's IBM has already implemented the entire application, so it's entirely their custom build extensions are used. So now when we are migrating that application entirely without affecting the users community who are using it, so we retain the same interfaces that we were supposed to we forced to take whatever it is there, however it is implemented. So, for example, a Java syntax. So, without that, we cannot work. And somehow we need to realize in our WSO2 platform how to do that. So, even though it doesn't have a direct implementation, so we took the different approaches to achieve all those things. So, the next biggest thing is the human task. That's where all the approvals, and when you use a business process, it comes all the approvals and all those things. So, for that, we demonstrated with the architectural prototype that human task will work, and authentication and authorization using the LDAP, the OIDs. So, that is also proof, and also the ability to call in the human task API from the external clients. Because the clients are already established and this is existing systems. So we should not interrupt any user. It should be a seamless transition from the old system to the new system with all this transformation. So that's we focus on these kind of things to prove that it supports human task external client APIs, and also the transportations. So as an application, it contains a lot of like HTTP transport and JMS communication, and the requirement of the process and inter-process communication using the JMS. So all these capabilities we were required in that, and we proved before we continue, we proved that okay, these are all things are there at present when we take that. And also certain administration capabilities. If you see, of course, even though we don't use admin capabilities of the WSO2 server as it is, but for the operation purposes, these admin capabilities are very much required. For example, if you want to restart a process or whatever, reinitiate the process and do something. And one more capability is the BAM. It's analytics of the system, the application. So we went for the BAM for that, WSO2 BAM, and we introduced and we did the prototype and made sure that whatever it is there in the IBM process server at this moment, so we were able to replicate on top of the BAM servers using the event processing. So, and the next one is, if you see, again, I think we have talked about LDAP authentication, authorization and security of the human task. Again, so these are the things which we made sure that it is working. So, even though we have the references like what they said, eBay, so we took the reference, but we made sure that the other things works for us. So after making sure that the things works, then we went for building the things. But now, if you see here, there are certain things which is not supporting as well. So everything is not supported. So for example, if you see the state machine, the IBM processor, it has all their extensions. For example, this is the state machine. So it doesn't have the direct implementation of the state machines on WSO2. So how do we do that? So it's like we assumed and we thought that okay, we can do it with the direct DeepL implementation. So we use, ultimately we achieved using the standard DeepL2 standards, and with these things only we build a very complex state machines in this application. And the next one is the business tool. So when we took that, IBM has its certain specific business tools in there, and on WSO2, our BPS, there was no direct support of that business tool. So then we went for HTTP REST API implementation with those service combinations. We were able to achieve that business tool as well. And the next one is the SCA. So SCA, IBM is rich in SCA providing. So basically it is to provide the multiple transports, JMS, HTTP, or maybe the file transfer, or maybe JDBC adapters. So we have achieved this one using again the access services which is provided in WSO2. So the overall, whatever there in IBM WSO2, IBM process server, which is the application implemented, we entirely migrated to the WSO2, and that too without affecting the user interfaces who are using the system, and with the expected performance. So that's what we have achieved. If you see the architecture, I think once we consolidated across the GSA-wise, the PBS, there are two agencies, the PBS and the FAS. So the borderline went away, everything come to FAS, and it's an integrated system now. this gives a very good thing for maintaining and all those things. So that's what the overall achievement of this the 18 months project. So now coming to the metrics, like what are the metrics or what are the deployments or what are the artifacts we have developed in WSO2 is, if you see here, it contains the 42 business processes. So and also, the complex business process, it went until 285 activities per business process. And if you see the 45 backend services to support all state machines and the Java snippet which is required, and we took the that approach. And the 15 human tasks for different officers' approvals. And it has some issues, and this is how we overcome, and also the 15 supporting libraries. So the project, the overall this project, it took 18 months, and May 17, we successfully deployed on production, and this September 15th was a heavy billing cycle of the entire year for GSA, and it passed that heavy billing cycle without issues. So it's going smooth, it's running. So this is what it is, and I think when we get this slide, this is what I think maybe around July, sometime we presented this slide. So we took that metrics. So if you see here, the per week data I've given. For example, on 21st May, because 17th was the production deployed. So these are the number of business process instances created per week. So it's a kind of slide to show what is the usage of the WSO2 system and the traffic of that. So the first row shows the human task creations, number of instances which is handled, and the second row shows number of the process instances per week. So it's old data, and it's still going on. So now I think with this, I'll hand over back to Badri to conclude this. Thank you.
Thank you. So basically, what we got done is we consolidated these four platforms across business process. We realized the estimate right now is $1.5 million in operational and licensing cost saved. And that started from May. So GSA is pretty happy with what we've done using WSO2. Yeah, as I said, it was zero code change across the customer. It's a platform replatforming without changing any of the apps. It's totally seamless to the users. So there are some suggestions for WSO2. We've been working with WSO2 to make that happen. One of the biggest problems we had was that not extensive documentation is in WSO2. Everyone here is not smiling. I think it's a problem they are addressing right now. I know. The other one is the developer studio was all great, but all it really had is a human additional development time had to be required, with rewiring things underneath the hood, because what was there in the studio was just a shell to get it human task started, for example, or sometimes it just didn't deploy well with plugin. We got that fixed as well. So the full human task specification is not there, and we made there are a lot of APIs with null implementations in it. We got on that problem too, and we really want them to implement extension points for Java and Ruby to embed within the inline processes. And that would have helped us develop things faster. So that's this. Another thing I want to talk about is that WSO2 support. It made a huge difference for us. Their Kickstart really helped us gain momentum and getting the platform up and going. The most important thing was as Sanjeeva mentioned the first thing about how their product engineers go through do different things. Go to marketing, be part of solutions, be part of development team. So we embedded a couple of folks from WSO2 product engineering team from BPS into our project. And that helped a lot in getting things faster. So we almost had around 30 different patches applied in quick sections, and response time were within 24 hours where we had to get a patch done. So not everything can be previously. There's going to be contingencies you need to deal with. But then if you have a WSO2 guy embedded in your project team, that's going to be easier for you. And the other one is that, and every time we talk to somebody in Sri Lanka, it was the actual committer of the product code who was getting things done for us. That was great. And I think we helped implement some of the Common Task API specification as a part of our project. We helped GSA-specific customizations. They were ready to branch out and help us do that as well. We came that helped in performance issue, the performance aspect because of the user group and the size of the GSA AD supported. And we also, even though the WSO2 APPS was built on Apache ODE, and they were ready to fix things on ODE when things didn't work, and that's contributed back to the project. And that was an important thing because that was so foundation to what the PPS stands. And more importantly, we had to implement some of this human target versioning, coordination protocol, and caching that enhanced the project and probably became part of their new version. So I talked about this. We were working with the WSO2 to get this even added to their product capability. That's what we were able to get done with WSO2 GSA. Any questions? Go.
I noticed in your decision criteria you didn't include mule,
Right.
and I was wondering why. Why did it make it to the final version?
It was primarily because there was an ESB already with JBoss in the infrastructure, and that it was not just transformation. There were a lot of orchestrations that were needed, complexity of orchestration that were needed a full implementation of the code, and we found WSO2 to meet that criteria for us. Also, a couple of the other things we did. Do you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, I mean, the JBoss mule is specifically for the ESB oriented thing. So we need, if you see the 42 business processes with all the extensions, obviously by the first look itself, we can say the mule will not support all these things. So that is the reason. Riftstop is one thing from the JBoss, which is a little engine, but it has very minimal capability. It doesn't support the human task and the other things which is required. And if we were forced to select that one, then 18 months implementation would have been like 3 years or 4 years. So that's the reason we took these 3 for our decision criteria.
Go ahead.
This is a minor one, but on your architecture diagrams, I noticed you had Oracle, Sybase, MySQL, and Documentum. And maybe it's just my color weak eyes, but I only see Sybase and Oracle actually on the diagram.
Yeah, not everything is represented. Some of the there's another. You see that EDM and other things. There's somewhere one of them. Documentum was part of the Group 8. It's part of the enterprise capabilities focused on the content management and data management.
Yes, of course. On GSA we use document as well, but it's not too detailed like what we use. It's a logical architecture of it's a group.
Okay, I was just wondering if I was just not seeing the differentiation in the colors.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was missing it.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.